live, I would like to go over a quick overview of what I see transpiring, not just across the market, but some of the headlines that are starting to develop within the news cycle as well. At least what I've been able to read through this morning. I'll turn the comments on in a minute. I'll be leaving here in a little bit because I'm going to go watch my nephew's basketball games here this afternoon, and then I'm going to go see my mom in the hospital. She'll be there for a few more days. As some of you know, she had surgery for her diverticulitis where they took out like 8 or 10 inches of her intestine, and it was interesting to say the least, but it went good. Um, Everything's great as of right now, so it's like about a 6 week healing period, like 3 days in the hospital roughly after, and then she should be home. But everything went good, so I mean, like, the best you could have hoped for, so she should be better than she's been in probably, I don't even know how long. So, but getting past that, we've got XRP. It looks like we're poised for quite the rally here. The fact that XRP is breaking outside of this descending wedge. Now, yesterday I did say we could have like a 5 or 7% drop before this happens, which, if it does happen, are we going to be really surprised? This would be, I believe it's, what is this, the 8 straight Sundays in a row. So this would be, what is this, it's either the 8th or 9th week in a row. If we were to dump on Sunday, it would be the 8th. It's either the 8th or 9th. I think it would be the 8th, last week of the, I don't know. But it's happened either 7 or 8 weekends in a row on Sunday, where we end up dumping our Saturday going into Sunday, and then it continues sometimes into Sunday later evening. But right now, it does seem to point to the fact that I still think, even if we break out of this descending wedge, we haven't back tested it. And if the whole crypto market wants to drop like 7 or 8% here on Saturday or Sunday, it seems like it's built in once again. It seems like it's built in once again for something like that to possibly happen. And let's just do a measured move. Let's say Saturday, February 8th, and then Sunday. See how far this would have to drag. See how far we could drag this out. I mean, theoretically, we could bring it out here, and that brings us into Sunday. I almost like that better. Like dumping into the Super Bowl. And I don't want to just say it because to say it, but I mean, they've been doing this strategically every single weekend. And the fact that a lot of this stuff is pushing to the outside of the descending wedge, so that would bring our target to $3.19, which would retest this breakdown point, which would be interesting. Short-term target is the short-term target, but I still think we all know $2.81. I would say it's probably more around this area because that's the overall resistance that you would have to break back. And that's where it bounced off as a support structure the last time. So the last support structure we have in here. But I still see something strategic building here. Even if we dump down here, I think that would be a assault here on the weekend as we've had many, many times over. And the only reason I don't have comments on this is because I don't want to be disturbed during this part of it. Because if I lose my thought, then we're going to flow off into something different. So think about this. It came down, came around. Now it's building. Even if it dumps here, as long as it bounces out and hits that resistance, at some point, then it could start building and tracing back down, building into that 260. I mean, we could see maybe they're trying to build something very suavely here. It's not there yet, and it may never be there, but I still see a better than not shot of touching down there. And that's about a 7% drop from here. Maybe a little bit farther. And because of the way it moves on the weekends, I hope that's not going to happen. I hope we just ride the 20-day. I'm just playing the contrarian view here on the weekend. Oh, boy. That's like 10%. But I still think it's building into something bigger. Like, we haven't done wave 5 and a 5-wave Elliott, or a 5-wave Elliott wave, or 5-wave. But it does seem to me like they are setting up some bearish momentum here to start the weekend. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but I've been saying this every time. These weekends are not pretty. Just because we have overall bullish feelings, it broke out of a descending wedge, and the fact it didn't backtest it yesterday leads me to believe that we're going to come down here likely. And this would bring us into Sunday if we start bouncing along here, and then we could power out of here. These descending wedges are bullish consolidations, and the fact that it's on the outside of it now, It's going to make it look bad, but it should come touchdown to the support structure. But I think this is all by design. I think we're building into something here. But we can't really, we won't know until it actually starts building. I appreciate everybody who's here this morning. I see there's 163 people here. Make sure to hit that like button. It does help push this through YouTube. Actually, you know what? Only hit that like button. I don't even care about pushing through YouTube anymore. Only hit that like button if you like what you're seeing, you get something out of this. Or by the end, you're like, you know, that was a lot of information. It was powerful, so I have no choice but to hit the like button. Other than that, save your like. Let's see. I also see how we have this building here. So that would almost be like, if we can get back up here, that would almost be in your neckline area for the future. So future resistance. And it makes sense because, look, we're getting resisted by it right now. But that's the resistance support downtrending line. If it stays above it, it powered up. When it goes below it, it has that breakdown moment. So, I mean, we're building the pattern right now. It's just a matter of, is that what it's going to build out to be? It's a rather long sideways and down consolidation, which is what I like to see. Because it's actually, as some of you know who have been watching, I'll show you the wider pattern. I just didn't want to start out showing you the wider pattern because then it's going to make some people will look at it as, oh, it's minute what we just talked about right here. But you see how we broke this chart down in a very, very defined way in a very small time frame? Well, I've got the bigger time frame, so you don't have to worry about that. We're in a broadening wedge. We're just trying to build the wedge. We're trying to build this broadening wedge. So, unless it builds down, if it builds down, we're screwed. Like, just what it showed us. If it builds down out of the broadening wedge, and you got to show everything if you want to show anything. Because to not show everything is to show nothing. If you understand what I'm saying. So if I only show you the good and not the bad, well, what the hell is the point? Then everybody's just going to think it's bullish. So in order for me to show you the information, I have to show you everything or I show you nothing. So you get everything. So on a breakdown from this broadening wedge, the technical target, and it's not out of the question only because that technical target is right on the all-time uptrend. And that's what always scares me. If we have to come down and revalidate this all-time uptrend that we have not visited since 2017. So it comes down and you can spread this farther, but it doesn't hit all the way down here yet. But coming down to that 5 cent mark on a drop out of a descending or a broadening wedge in the perspective it's in, if you take the entirety of the pattern, it does leave you some cause for like, holy crap, this is actually, something could happen here if it doesn't break out the way that we're expecting. A fair value gap at $1.82 is a very big spot to watch. The fact that that's right around the area that if you break through, you start to come really towards that support structure. Like that would be your hold point at $1.82. But see if we can get this on $1.82 so we can see the dot. Ooh, close enough. So, I mean, that's how much room you would have in between. There's not much. But like I said, I started this out with the bullish tug so that if you see the possibilities on a breakdown, you're like, oh, this fucking guy. But I'm showing you what we can do to avoid this. Or even if we are going to have this fate, just by bouncing off the support structure on a broadening wedge, you don't need to keep bouncing it. You basically usually tap it and then you go to the next side if you don't break through. And you ride that pattern until you have a breakout or breakdown. So just riding the common logic here out of this broadening wedge, because we hit the support structure at $1.77 area, $1.78. Now because we held and now we're building this descending wedge out in the exhaustion phase, because this was an exhaustion wick to the nth degree. And then we built out of the exhaustion wick, and now we had to come back test some of this area. But fortunately, we built the descending wedge, which are typically now, understand when we say they're bullish, in this scenario in a descending wedge, it's about 70% it'll play bullish, which means 30% of the time it's playing bearish. Like if you were driving down the road and I said 70% of the time you'll make it to work safe, you would stay home that day. I would. So there's a 30% chance I leave this house and I'm getting in a car accident. Well, I don't like those odds. That seems like it's a much higher increase than on a normal day-to-day basis. So, you know, that's just something to consider. Or like if I walk outside, you know, there's a 30% chance, you know, I don't know, I get struck by lightning. Well, you know, most of the time when I walk outside, there's this minute chance, 0%, 0.1% chance. Well, I'm not walking outside if I'm going to have a 30% chance. So that's where you're at right now. If you want to make a trade right now, what I'm getting at is there's a 30% chance you're going to get kicked in the nuts if it goes up. If there's a 70% chance that you're going to be happy. Now, shorting it, there's a 30% chance it's going to play out. 70% chance it doesn't. Going long, there's a 70% chance it plays out. 30% chance it doesn't. But the problem is if you're doing the shorting and longing in the leverage market, you got to be wise to the pattern, because right now it's suggesting, sure, we can have this big breakout, but there is a very real possibility this is a reversal candle here we're dealing with in like 3 hourly, 4 hourly. Looks like the candle before was shit. I'm just saying. That looks like a bearish doji probably. And now if this broke to a new low, so that's not technically good. The only way to reverse this is just to get out of here and just break out. But it does seem to speak to the fact we haven't retested the descending wedge breakout, and that doesn't, I don't like that. I like the back test, make it right, you know, and prove that we have the support and we can rebound out of the area. So we'll see how it plays out, but we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Either way, unless this breaks down out of this broadening wedge, which is what I think it is, I think it would be lazy for me to not re-emphasize the pattern, because it started off in a pennant, and then we had some kind of weird falling channel that was the continuation part. But if you just merge the two sections, you can clearly see on that breakdown to $1.77, you can't ignore it. It actually was an expanded pattern that we couldn't tell what it was until it had that last touch to support. But now we clearly know it's a broadening wedge. So we don't want to lie to ourselves and be like, oh, this is more bullish or bearish than it is. It's a broadening wedge. It came up in a bullish dynamic. Typically, when you have a broadening wedge, when you're coming up on a bullish pole, that starts a pattern reversal like we did out of the descending wedge after 7 years almost. Typically, that's a bullish consolidation, and it's literally, we went so high so fast that we had no choice but to expand the consolidation, and it turned into a broadening wedge. If it was coming in a bearish broadening wedge, then I would be like, uh-oh. But because we came up in such a powerful hit, now if we break down, I've shown you the worst case scenario is that this is all optics and bullshit, and Trump is actually going to drop the market. Not because of Trump, but because they use the optics of a huge pump, you know, the oblivion under Trump. And then what do the market makers like to do? They like to use our own emotions against us. Or, you know, you have to wait until you finish the cycle. And to me, because we're in a 5-wave Elliott wave, I really do believe that's what we're in. And I believe we have to finish that 5th wave. Between that being set up in that dynamic, between the fact that the descending wedge brought us to a target of $5.49, for the fact that some of these short-term setups were bringing us near $5.40, but now this broadening wedge, and I'll do the intro in a sec, but this broadening wedge that set up, that changes the game here a little bit. Only because there's such a powerful breakdown. But then if you look for the equal breakout, it's pretty staggering how everything, and you guys have to admit, no matter what we pull up, everything is pointing to that exact same area of completion. Isn't it kind of funny that if this breaks out, let's just say it breaks out at the end of the wedge, sometime in February, isn't it this month? Isn't it funny that it breaks to $5? Doesn't it seem ironic that this is also a technical target to $5.49 on a breakout? So we had the 7-year descending wedge that targeted $5.49. We had a pennant flag that initially formed that targeted $5.40, but that's invalidated in my opinion. That pennant flag means absolutely positively nothing. Absolutely zippo. Because it proved to us it's in a broadening wedge, and there's no debating it in my mind. Now, isn't it ironic that broadening wedge gives us the exact same target? See that yellow line? That exact same line as the technical target out of a almost 7-year descending wedge. You can't make this up. So the descending wedge target when this pattern first started was $5.49. The pattern that's formed out of the consolidation, out of the entirety of this pattern, is $5.49. I don't know how to make that up any better. So when you tie in all the technicals I gave you in the last, 15 minutes, do you see why I'm not ready to say the target's not dead? We haven't even talked about the fact that you could turn this in. Actually, we have. I just deleted it. I forgot. because we know we're in that descending wedge. But there's so many things that are pointing to that $5.49 area that it's almost comical at this point. If you can see it through the technicals, like I'm sitting here saying, holy fuck. Like as bearish as they want to make it look, go ahead, drop it 10% today. All it's doing is backtesting the descending wedge breakout. Like all this stuff is setting up for an ultimate showdown, in my opinion, with $5.49. Is it also any great, unbelievable stroke of luck that the cycle uptrend, this would be a backtest at resistance at $5.49 on the cycle uptrend, and it's timing that uptrend perfectly to have an all-calamic moment, anti-calamic moment possibly, but the all-inspiring moment right at the end of February? I mean, something big's about to happen. The charts are telling us some big event is about to happen. We don't know what. Maybe it's bad for the world, but good for crypto. I don't know. But some big event is setting up. And I don't think that XRP is just falling off the map here and going back to 5 cents. I think it's all pointing to $5.49 for a reason. I think that's where we should have our sell points at. That's where I'm targeting to possibly layer out of the market. So if it gets there, we've been talking about this. It's not going to come as any surprise to anybody if that's where we're targeting the market sale. And it's not because I want to sell out of XRP and I want to sell out of crypto. But this is where it's telling me it's going. I listened in 21, and unless it powers through here and backtest it, I have a strange feeling when we hit $5.49, that's going to be the moment where it decides to do this. And it's not like it's going to be the craziest thing in the world, but I have a feeling it would go from 549, boop, 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 boop. We got stuck, we're at for how long? Right around here. We have people stuck here. And that was a moment where we could not break out of. But better yet, we have to backtest this entirety of this cycle when we started. So I think that'd be a perfect moment to drop at 40%. Now, that kind of a drop is a $20,000 drop on 10,000 tokens. And that is not something I'm sitting through. Only for one reason. If it comes down $20,000, there's going to be so much opportunity in this market. Not just XRP, and we'll also be able to tell if it's going to be some kind of cycle, top. Because something that is becoming more and more apparent to me, because it dragged out like this in fact, yeah, you could say it's some kind of weird head and shoulders building up and a right shoulder could form. But if you're asking me, just based on what I've seen in the past and just my experience level, of watching the charts and seeing these things play out, almost looks like you're building one big real shoulder there. And when you look at it, you're going to say, oh, that was just kind of like an expandable top, broke up into a head, came back down. Who knows? Maybe it does something like this. But it almost looks like this is more of a shoulder. When you look at a broader base, that doesn't look like a head and shoulders. That just looks like, hey, I got a broad shoulder. Now you got the head. You got to come up to the head. I still think if this pattern's meant to die, it's going to be in that range. And I think that would be the most hyper bullish anybody could ever be. And then we know the real cycle's in 28. So wouldn't it be just the right time to go, holy crap, XRP's at 5, look at the market. And then very quickly, and before they even know it, they're down 40%. I think that's what dreams are made of. If you bought the market where we did. I mean, you're literally talking at $5.49. I really think what I just built there is what's actually happened. That's why I couldn't turn the comments on yet. I had so much I wanted to talk about, and I might look stupid, but the way this is dragging out is too much. It feels like it's too much. It feels like we're building that anticlimactic moment here. And I say anticlimactic because so many people are going to expect it to do one thing. But the sheer liquidity market right now is telling us, come on, guys, we can't just fall out yet. There's so much money up there. You really think the manipulators are going to allow these people to not get reamed out first? I just feel like at some moment, it's just going to, maybe it doesn't fall 10%. Maybe this is the weekend where we don't have another fall on Sunday. maybe this is where it just grabs everybody by the nuts and they're like, holy crap, you know, we were expecting another drop on Sunday and here we are. I mean, we're prepared for it either way. I just keep getting deeper and deeper into some things that I really like VeChain. You guys know I added to VThor when it was down. I added more DGB the other day, as you know. Zill, I've added more. There's a bunch of stuff I've added more, but only because it drops so much on certain days. Axelar is one that's back up to 40 cents now, but we got a great opportunity just a couple days ago. It came all the way back down to 32 cents. And it's still building a pattern. I mean, a lot of these are, but they seem to be building into something. But I want to focus on XRP. Like, I always get tugged in different ways with the audience, but I'm going to start focusing on XRP for the majority. And then we'll see, because I get tugged away so much, and then it takes some of my energy into different directions. And then I don't even get to talk about what I want to talk about. I think XRP is laying the foundation here. The hell with Ethereum in this cycle. Like I said before, I think XRP is actually has led us into alt season, and it's actually guiding us through it. It got in early compared to the rest of crypto. And now it's trying to show us if it's where exactly this can go. If XRP can break out past $5.49, it's going to be very interesting. If it breaks down outside of this broadening wedge, then we know it's over. And it's leading the crypto back into the dark ages for a couple years probably. That's what we don't want to see. Outside of that, I'll turn the comments on. I'm sure there's going to be a ton. Keep the spirits in the positive. I like helpful, not hurtful in my comment section. I do start to ignore now when I see the bad energy, so it's something I've grown into in 25, which I'm happy about. Other than that, don't forget to give thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this beautiful Saturday morning, the most holy of days. Stay humble, show humility, and let's get this started. Good morning. 11:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, February 8th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Wow, a lot of things everybody wants me to talk about. Not one of you are in Tom's Army. Interesting. That's a lot of people commenting for nobody to be in Tom's Army. Well, there's one. Thank you, XRP Biggest Loser. I appreciate you being in Tom's Army for 3 months with the XRP Meteor Plus. XRP, welcome in, and thank you for being in Tom's Army with the XP Predictor. Rick Johnson, thank you so much for tuning in and being in Tom's Army for your first month. Appreciate that. I don't feel like YouTube is expanding the emoji badges. I really don't. I really don't. I don't feel like they're updating it. Good morning, Joseph Kupiak. And Mr. Carter, welcome in from the Outback. In the Outback. Hashtag M2C. Joseph, Crypto Scooter, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army. Thank you to Brandon for re-upping in Tom's Army. I appreciate that. Much appreciation. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with YouTube. My badges are not updating, and that's a YouTube thing. It's all fixed in, and it's supposed to go on, but mine's not the only channel I've heard about this. People have told me that it's on other ones. It's weird. It's weird. It's really weird. UK Phil, welcome in. Rick Johnson, the Gapman, thank you all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it on this Saturday morning. What do we think about what I was showing you guys on the charts? What do you guys think about what I was showing you on the charts? Does it seem to make sense, that $5.49 area? Do you agree on the broadening wedge? Do you agree on the short-term descending wedge that we broke out of? And now we have to possibly backtest? I mean, can you guys see what I'm talking about within the charts? Just out of curiosity, did it make sense? And do you understand why I kept the comments off for the beginning? Just so I could go through it. So I'm trying to build out a pattern that could be, but it's in different layers. It's in so many layers. There's so many layers of this. But I felt like if I broke it down that way, they're all pointing to $5.49, which is what we want to see. Yes, sir, Joseph. Couldn't have said it better myself. Welcome into the Kupiaks. Excellent. Rapid Freedom, yes, agree. Excellent, and thank you for being in Tom's Army. I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know, as in any market, when the price comes down, we've had a few people drop out of Tom's army noticeably. You know, but that's okay. That's okay. I think we built a pretty nice audience base through this, though, to where now we're excited to see what the future has to hold. Like, even for some of you who might be here for the beginning times, you know, maybe this is your beginning time and you're looking at it saying, holy crap, like, how am I supposed to process all of this? Well, I like to do some proactive work. I like to look at this into the future of things that haven't happened yet, so we can build the potential. So now in our minds, we've got the potential of what happens if obviously we break down on the broadening wedge. You know, obviously that's got to be in our minds. And we'll put this and we'll make this color pink. Or wait a minute, not pink. That one's not bright enough. I need one that stands out. Let's see. I just need one. Yeah, that'll work. Because we'll go at the same time structure somewhere back here. Where's that? That is all too damn close to that bottom. That's to the all-time uptrend. So just we keep it there just so we can have a semblance of the truth here as well. Because there's the semblance of the whole pattern. Because if I don't tell you the whole thing, then I'm not telling you anything. And I think that makes so much sense. Because if I don't tell you everything, I'm telling you nothing. Like, that's the thing. Like, if I'm not telling you the bearish with the bullish or the bullish with the bearish in every scenario, you know nothing. Like, then you're only looking at it one way. And it's so hard for me to, like, speak in tone. Like, I almost feel like I'm speaking in tongues when I say stuff like that. But it's true. Like, if you understand technical analysis, it's our own unique code. Like, if you understand, you understand. And if you don't, you can by watching this. It's not just a, oh, get the hell out of here and you have no hope. No, it's just pay attention and you'll start to understand the lingo. And then when you see a chart, you're like, oh, well, wait a minute. What the heck? I see that pattern. Like, I know some of you see a pattern that's even bigger here as well. Like, I showed you that support structure. But I know we can all see this as well. It's almost like it's mimicking itself over and over. And now you can see this little channel here as well. So we've got these little minute things that are building, but that's giving you the bearish and bullish section here. You got to get past this little section. You really do. But I only put this line right here. The only reason why that's significant is that's going to end up being the neckline here, if that is an inverse head and shoulders. You've already got resistance, and I'll show you what I mean. So boom, down to support. If it holds it, it breaks out. Holds it, breaks out. Comes down, gets resisted, breaks down. Holds it, we'll see if it can break out and bounce around. Or if it rides along. This is everything. This entire setup that we're showing in the smaller, and this is almost like Inception. You've got a pattern within a pattern within a pattern. Once you understand the bigger pattern, you can get into the smaller pattern within the smaller pattern within the smaller pattern of the smaller pattern. You understand what's going to happen within the bigger pattern, but you won't know the bigger pattern unless you understand the minute part of the smaller patterns, because it builds out into a bigger pattern. But you also want to understand the small parts of the pattern, what the bigger side is building to, like is the smaller side bullish or bearish? Is the larger front bullish or bearish? What is actually going on here? Like, everything we're seeing is still bearish, though. That's what you have to understand. Unless we get over $5.49, the end of this cycle is bearish. Right now, I believe this part of the cycle is still overtly bullish. Now, if for some reason this breaks down, I would be a little bit stunned here, but not because we can see it. It would just be disappointing, that's all. It's not that we would be stunned. It's just that we would be disappointed because the Elliott wave doesn't generally just cut off. When you're in a 5 wave and it's so clear, it doesn't usually just cut off at 4. It doesn't. So I would be pretty surprised. I'd be pretty surprised. I think we should all have hope here. I don't think anybody shouldn't have hope. I think you should also be looking at, if that's true about XRP cycle, well, if that's the case, XLM is going to have a huge explosion then, in that case. XLM is already trying. It hasn't been able to get outside of its pattern, but it is really, 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 really trying here. Because if you drag it out, you can see it broke out of a little channel here. And I want to get rid of some of these because it's getting a little annoying. It's getting hard to understand. So we're just going to build it as it goes. So the cycle uptrend we know, just like XRP, we've got the falling channel. We've got this little descending wedge that built out, but much like XRP, it put in a bearish start to the day. So if it wants to build out into Sunday, if it wants to, it's going to. So, then you start to build it down, and we just say, where's this descending wedge going to break out of? Because it broke out, or where's the back test going to be to where it catapults it? And I think we can all say for sure, these are descending wedges, right? Now, whether or not it plays out like it's supposed to or not, that's something that, oh yeah, absolutely. XOM has a massive inverse head and shoulder. I'm building the small pattern to the long pattern. For anybody who's been here, you understand this is a massive inverse head and shoulders that is likely here. But we've got to build from the short out I'm doing this time. Instead of the far out in, I'm taking it from the guts to the structure this time. I usually take it from the structure and work into the guts. We're starting in the guts right now of the pattern. So when you go into the guts of it, this is where you start. There's a descending wedge right here. Yes or no, everybody? You want Zebec to break down like I thought was going to happen. Hey, I've got the Zebec. And I've been talking about it. The possibilities there. But even if there's a massive breakdown, I'm expecting a big breakup first before a breakdown. But we'll see. Because if it breaks out of the structure, it'd be like an 80% correction. We'll go into that a little bit later because I like Zebec. Nobody really talks about it. I don't think anybody talks about it. I think we're just some idiots that hold it. But not idiots. You're only an idiot because nobody else understands it. But it is a way to work traditional finance into the new... It's so crazy when you start reading some of it. Anyhow, so yeah, some of you agree the descending wedge. But we haven't backtested it, right? I don't think there's a backtest that we can say has unequivocally happened. Sure, this wick came close. But I think it makes sense. I think if you're going to have a big pump next week or... it would seem to line up for next week. I see a 10%, 7 to 10% drop possibly happening here to kind of zone everybody out. I guess Zebec is being talked about. I'll be damned. I haven't heard anybody talk about Zebec. But then again, I'm the wrong person to ask because I don't watch anybody. Except the ones that I always talk about. Good. I'm glad there's buzz. Buzz leads to noise. And then if it starts taking off, then some people are going to unequivocally go to it if it's being taught. Oh, good. That's what I want. I want everybody to talk about it for just one moment in time. So, and the reason I say that, since everybody's talking about Zebec, I want everybody to talk about it for one moment in time. This is what everybody's saying. If we have this bear flag form there in the short term, that's why, that's why I was saying yesterday that this could possibly break down in the short term. But that's only if this is like a bear flag that actually plays out. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But if you look at this in the longer scope, and that's another thing though, I don't really want everybody talking about it. Not yet. I want everybody to talk about it after it pumps. If everybody's just talking about it now, that could be because some schlues is talking about it and then some unethical happenings are happening. But yeah, it could definitely break down because it looks like it could possibly be in this bearish pennant. And it could break down to that 0.00008. And I know that's what the person in the audience is talking about. Now, what I was looking for would be boom, boom, have this come up one more time. But you never know when they look like that. You never know. That's why I put the feeler out and said, hey, listen, everybody, I would go deeper into this. The problem is you might want to save some of your capital because if it does break down, that's going to be violent. And then down here at 80% drop, that would be a historical buy-in, honestly, on this particular token. That would be so cheap. But then you start to look, does it build something worse? But it's still got a long way to go. If you look at this pattern, usually they break down 70% of the move. It's not even, or break out. If it's going to do something outside the ordinary, it doesn't usually break down this quickly. There's still so much of this pattern left that it would be quite interesting if it broke down right now after how big of a drop it had. You typically have more bounce back and forth. That's an 80% drop. You don't usually just fall another 80 right away. You usually bounce inside of this to start attracting more attention. You have some of these big run-ups. It would still be down 60% from the top. But imagine you have a run-up like this, and then everybody's like, oh my God, Zebec's up 67%, not telling you it's still down freaking 58% from the top. And when I say the top, I mean just in like a year. So, you know, but you get those over-exaggerated pushes, and then you get some interest, you get some buzz. And then if you break out of this formation, because in the exponential moving averages, they're set up for a reversal. So, I don't know. I don't look at BNB. It's not on my repertoire. And like I said, I'm going to try to stay in line with what I have. I haven't got a donation or anything today, so I got to stay online. You know, like if you want me to go outside my realm of thinking, you can always send a donation and force my hand. But I can't talk about 75 different things, especially today, because I have a focus and a structure that I had set up for a reason. Because what if XRP breaks up here this weekend? You have to know everything. Like I don't want to get into everything. You know, I can't get into everything. I do have a lot in my mind, but that's an excuse. For me, it is. You gotta have everything in your mind, and then you gotta have scroll up, Tom. Oh, well, maybe I missed some donations. Look at that. What an idiot I am. Somebody did send a donation, $4.99. But it wasn't about the donation. It was about the point that you could force my hand by it forcing up on my screen. I want to see this just rotate here out of this wedge. Jason, thank you so much for the $4.99 donation. H-bar could go to $3 to $5. I'd be happy. Well, let's slow down a little bit on H-bar. Let's get to $1 first. It's never even sniffed $1 in its history. So before we start talking about $3 to $5, I agree it can get there and it should. But let's take it on the stair stepper. We don't want to look too far out into the future. Then we don't. I'm gonna look into the comments. In the comments. Let's see if it even shows me. Yeah, it doesn't even let me go back to see any of the. Like I said, it didn't show me any of them. So, Rick, I don't know how much it was. All I see is Jason, $4.99 donation. And then, well, that was just now, too. Wales, Josie Wales, thank you so much for the $4.99 donation. And being in Tom's Army says, and Tom, we tried. Thank you, Tom. What I thought, Tom, it was breaking down. Hey, you're welcome, Shane. Can somebody let me know how much was sent? Just out of curiosity. I would like to thank him for sending it. $10? Excellent. Thank you, Rick. Thank you for the $10, Rick. I really appreciate that. So we've had like 3, 4. So I'm going to put 5 on here. And, you don't need to send a donation. I just want to see the, I want to see one. I like one thing in comments and it makes me happy. So, all right. Anyhow, so that's that. That's what's going on the chart perspective on some of these. But algo, algo is one that I keep building into. I bought more algo. Not too long ago. Again, I bought more algo. FYI. I keep buying algo on all these drops. Yeah, you guys know I bought it here. When it came down here, I bought more algo. So that was this week. And then I believe I may have bought more when it came here because I feel like I bought more at 25 cents as well. So, but we'll see how this plays out even. All of these, like algo is on a massive pattern. I would like to get into more of these today, but I've got a lot of stuff to do, and it's already 40 minutes into this, and I still got to go over this XRP stuff. I'm not willing to not go over what I want to go over with XRP anymore. Like that, I'm XRP future millionaire. I oftentimes, you know, go off of what I'm trying to do because I'm trying to appease everybody in the audience. I'm really trying, but I can only do so much in my life. So crypto fear and greed index right now is in fear, which is awesome. We have a start thing we do in this community. If you know nothing else, sell the greed, buy the fear. So right now it's back to buying time. It's in fear. So if you just, like I say, if you know nothing about trading, don't ever buy in greed. Wait until it gets through neutral, and then buy the fear. Sell the greed. Sell the extreme greed, but buy the fear up. Buy the extreme fear, but start buying in fear. This is when people are willing to get rid of their holdings because they're afraid. Worst time to get rid of them is because you're afraid. Got to learn the charts. Startup founded by Citi alumni to launch XRP-backed securities. Receipts Depository Corp already offers Bitcoin and Ether-backed securities and is now looking to expand its product suite by adding XRP. So, Receipts Depository Corp, RDC, a startup founded by a group of former Citigroup executives. Mind you, Citigroup. That's big news. So they love Citigroup. Executives left Citigroup to start up this company, Receipts Depository Corporation, RDC, and is planning to launch XRP-backed securities, according to people familiar with the matter. This will give institutions access to XRP securities through U.S. regulated market infrastructure. The company will offer depository receipts similar to the American Depository Receipts, ADRs, that represent foreign stocks on U.S. equity exchanges. The product will be offered to qualified institutional buyers only via transactions exempt from registration. Under the Security Acts of 1933, as such, it does not need approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. So using their own nonsense against them, I've been waiting for something like this to happen. The securities will be cleared by the Depository Trust Company, DTC, similar to RDC's already existing offering of Bitcoin and Ether-backed securities. In a press release in January 2024, RDC founder and CEO Ankit Mehta said that using depository receipts brings many benefits, such as their tried and true structure, providing direct ownership of the underlying asset and easy inclusion in institutional products. Several companies have taken steps to bring XRP to an institutional crowd. As Kyle Kupiak, welcome in, Cape Cod Kyle in the house. Several companies have taken steps to bring XRP to an institutional crowd, as the native cryptocurrency of the Ripple network has seen tremendous growth over the past year. Several assets. Oh, I forgot to show you guys something too, and it has to do with the alt season chart. We'll get to that in a second. I definitely have that. I put it in my email when I was looking. I think it's still in here. Let me just make sure, because this is, I wanted to share this. This is something good. Where did I put this? I'll finish this in this. I want to make sure I want to show you this. Oh, here it is. I need to share it back to my email. Because I have it on my phone. Sometimes I just got to share it between my email. All right, I'll pull that out in a sec. But it has to do with the altcoin, how we're about to go into the third part. Well, I'll show you it. So let's see. The difference between an ETF. No. Several companies have taken steps to bring XRP to an institutional crowd, as the native cryptocurrency of the Ripple network has seen tremendous growth over the past year. Several asset managers and exchange-traded fund ETF providers have applied for ETFs tracking the price of XRP. The difference between an ETF and depository receipts is that while shares in a potential XRP ETF would be redeemed for cash, depository receipts would offer direct ownership of the cryptocurrency. That's what institutions want. That would play right into institutional investors. So that's something very good to understand. And then, real quick, just this. 438 million on XRP volume skyrocketed by 9,640% on Coinbase. I just wanted to read this with everybody just to see what this if this is a FUD-based article or if it's something actually going on. So it says XRP trading volume on Coinbase has skyrocketed, increasing by 9,000+% in 24 hours. According to CoinGlass data, XRP trading volume on the exchange increased to 438 million as traders capitalized on recent price movements. Trading volume often indicates trader positioning in the face of increased market volatility. Traders may aim to profit. Traders may also enter or exit position in response to market developments. The XRP depository receipts, like regular American depository receipts, shares, blah, 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 foreign files, yada, yada, yada. would indicate ownership of the underlying. So we just talked about this. I want to know about the price action. The overall cryptocurrency, I don't care. I want to know about XRP. What's this Coinbase stuff? So bullshit. Good to know. Okay. That's what I wanted to know. If it was worth it or not. So it was not. I want to share. I was going to say, why won't this pop up? This. So if we're looking at the trend of altcoin season, this is how it's been playing out in the past. So if you look in the past to now, what do you think? Doesn't even look like we've started alt season yet, does it? Looks pretty similar to the past cycles. That's what I'm saying. Like, we haven't started anything yet. Like, it just doesn't seem like it, and it's perfectly on the trend. Nothing's changed. I feel like we haven't started yet. So when you look at it like this, it makes a lot of sense to me. So does it look like alt season started? Does it look like we're setting something up pretty massive here? Kind of looks to me like we're setting up like the third hedge. Like, look how it bounces off of here. Like, if you play it out like this, we're getting into that zone. So we'll see. Does that at least make sense when you're looking at it? Or do you know what you're looking at? And you see where we're at time-wise. So we'll see. We'll see. I see a lot of reasons why we should be pretty excited about where we're going. Everything I'm seeing is pointing to the fact that we're about to have this last, it's the last part of this phase. But it's alt season would be the last part. So I'm trying to make it clear for everybody, like, in different ways that I see things that might make it a little easier when you start looking at it. But I don't know. It looks beautiful to me as well. And just with everything I see on the charts, I mean, it really looks like it's trying to track in this way. Like, we haven't started the traditional alt season yet. What setup? Are you watching on the screen, Shane? That setup. Look how the alt seasons in the past set up, and look how the consolidation phase happened before the breakout. I'm showing it right on the screen. It's literally in between the cycle breakout, just like the prior two. You had a bull cycle, bear cycle, bull cycle, bear cycle. We haven't had the bull cycle in altcoins yet. XRP, like I've said, is leading the run. It's literally leading the foundation for the altcoins. Like, XRP is over $2 right now, and Algo's at 25 cents or 27 cents. It doesn't even make sense. So it looks like XRP. So if that's the case, that's why I keep saying it's a super cycle. Because XRP is going to go all the way from 40 cents to $5.40. That's unheard of in these modern times. And if you, not in XRP's history, but if you look at it in comparison to the rest of the alt market, for XRP to be at $5.49, you'd expect Algo to be at $4 at least. You'd expect IOTA to be sub $3, $4. You'd expect XLM to be at a couple dollars, getting at least close to at least $1.50, which it very well could be because that $1.17 movement that could happen here. But everything is so cheap in comparison. It's like it's not correlating right now. It's not correlating right now. So I think we're in a historic position here. If in fact we do lift off into the traditional alt season, there's no reason to think we're not going to. It's just a matter of this has been one of the stranger ones with how XRP's kind of led the way, almost like 2017 in a way. So could we be delivering the same? Could we be in a scenario where the past resonates with the future, but in a different way? So the past isn't necessarily predicting the future, but it's telling you the rhyme and reason for what's to come at some point in the future. Like, that's how it feels. And the fact that Ethereum seems like one of the best deals on paper right now, if it's going to go into an alt season, not in traditional sense. I'm talking about between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the bigger ones. If it holds it. Now, it's also speaking to the fact if it breaks down, and this is some kind of a rising wedge, which it's still so early, it's not time to break down. You know, there's some optics here. That's all I'm saying. There's optics here that you can look at it, but I'm looking at it from the situation of Even Bitcoin is still not giving it away. And if we want to call it a jank cup and handle, so be it. But on the top here, it had a symmetrical triangle within a broadening wedge, broke out of the symmetrical triangle, back tossing the symmetrical triangle, built what looks like a handle formation of a cup that targets 122,000. The ironic part of this targeting 122,000 is the fact that the original cup and handle said that the top of this Bitcoin cycle would be 122,000. So just like XRP, it's all pointing to the same area. It's all pointing to the same area. So, but that's basically what I got this morning. I'm up against it time-wise, so I'm going to have to end this in just in a very short term. I got to get to my nephew's basketball game, and then I got to go spend some time up at the hospital with my mom. So, you know, I'm glad we were able to do this live. I wasn't able to do one yesterday. I was just way too busy. We got 3 pieces of content out yesterday, which I was very happy about. I'll do a short at some time today as well. I don't think there'll be much on top of that today, just because my mom, like I said, is recovering in the hospital, and we'll see how it goes. If you had $400 to put into something right now, which would you buy? Ooh. I have some, like, look, when you're going through this, I'm going to tell you my reasoning for everything. H-bar is already breaking out of this poll. So if you're looking at it from a apples to oranges, or an apples to apples comparison to some of this stuff. So the all-time chart here, we can see that H-bars broke out of this poll already. It hasn't finished the totality of this move, but you can see how it's busting out of the poll already, and now it's back testing the breakout, which is common. But it's already broken out of the poll and started this momentum. You've got VThor, which is in its own thing. I wouldn't even look at that. VeChain has this poll that it's kind of broken down a little bit to about the, 40, 50 percentile. And now it should break out of this. It had 2 nice inverted hammers before, so this looks like it's just an exhaustion to kind of back test this, the validity of this movement. ZIL, that's where it gets interesting, because ZIL actually broke down out of there initially, and it reset. So now if that's showing us something, I don't know. This is the one that makes you think, because ZIL actually reset a little bit. DGB, for the most part, is doing the same thing as ZIL. Does that mean that XLM is going to come down and reset, or is this going to play out of here? Like, it's a very tricky spot to just look at. XRP, you can see, has broken out and it's back testing the pole breakout. So in that regard, HBAR and XRP are showing a little more strength because they're holding the breakout of the flag, or the actual pole. So it makes it interesting. Algo is another one when I look at. It makes me very intrigued. Starting to break it down a little bit, but it's just back testing the initial breakout here, and it actually did it in a very good spot. What would I buy? I would stick in the lines of either Algo, XLM, DGB, but I have all of these. I like to look at things that, if I'm looking at so far outside of the realm, like VELO is great today. It's up 10%. VELO could be showing us the market in a nutshell. VELO, I believe, is also in a, I don't know why it's like that, but is also in a broadening wedge. And it seems to have broke down out of it and hit the actual entirety of the pattern formation. So if it came all the way down here and held 1-3 and it comes all the way back up, that's going to be a substantial, like, this could be the start of substantial movement in some parts of the market. Matic is severely undervalued, which is Poly now, P-O-L-Y or P-O-L if you look at it on the exchanges, if it's been updated. IOTX is sitting under 2 cents. Like, good deals all across the board. There's really good deals across the board. But with the way the charts are, it could be a moment where XRP starts to run unabated, you know. But yeah, there could very well be that drop first. But I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you appreciate my content. Hit that like button. If you're looking to trade crypto, I'm not going to go over the spew, but it's simply right here on my homepage or in the video description below. BITUNIX is my favorite because they have lowest spot and leverage trading fees and lowest maker-taker fee and such and such and so on and so forth. You can donate PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo outside of the show if you want to. And then there's the other ways that I trade, but that's up to you. I want to sing Sunny Days before I leave. And then one person asked about Axel. I briefly brought it up earlier in this, but it's down near the support structure right now. And this is the all-time chart right here. This line that it basically, we can give it credit now. It came down here and it tapped this, but this was the all-time pattern. Or at least from the setup of the support and straight through. So it does seem like we're constricting. But it's very hard to judge this pattern because I think it would probably be more like that if you're looking at this in a real way. But it's very hard because this has just been sitting here for a while. There's not much to say about it. I think if you were looking at it, you'd want to stay as close to this uptrend just in case it breaks it. You don't want to be buying up here. But it's very volatile. I could look at this a couple different ways, actually. I had it like this before. It's kind of like the inception view, so you can see how much resistance it's actually created. Like, there's so many layers to get up here. Like, it's created quite the wall here. Yeah, it's brutal right now, some of it. It's got to get out of here. So there's not much to say about it right now, except the fact it's in a wider formation. But this is what it needed to get out of, and it's as of right now, it's got to get back over that short term. So it's kind of like inception based within inception based. So, but ladies and gentlemen, before I leave, it's been an interesting few days, and on the charts, it's been an interesting few days. And even though it might be feeling a little down on the charts, we're not out. We know what we're looking at. If you've been here for a while, maybe it's your first time. You're going to be in for a surprise. But ladies and gentlemen, I know what time it is. Do you know what time it is? Ladies and gentlemen, the sunny days are here again. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. I wear glasses 'cause I can't see a motherfucking thing. Happy days. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. XRP will reign supreme. Let's just not get caught in the FUD. Oh, we're gonna crash and we did and we will and we won't and we may and we will and we won't. Oh, yeah. Stay true. Stay blessed. Wave 5 is coming. Hopefully. If it's not, we're gonna cry. We're gonna cry. Actually, that just looks like a cooler sunglasses now. He's not even crying. Kind of looks like he's got some cool fades now. Maybe we got some new, maybe he got a Band-Aid. Maybe he is crying. Maybe he fractured his face. I don't know. But smile, happy, you know, we got to be happy. I swear I want to do an NFT of that sun. I want to make an NFT of that sun. I do. I think it would be cool. And then since somebody said that that's the best, where is this at? What, is it not on here again? Oh, I love it how they keep deleting it. Well, I'll have to bring it back on here. We'll have to bring it back on here. Yeah, because they don't have it on here. But yeah, I appreciate the, what is this? That's what it has on here. Ooh. Yeah, I'll have to redo this again. But all right, everybody, thank you so much.